Good morning. Today we are solving multi-step equations and also equations with variables on both sides. So first, we need to draw our line like we always do. And if we can combine like terms on the same side, always do that first. So I have 8x here and negative 3x here. Well, 8 minus 3 is really just 5x. And then write the rest of the equation. It says minus 10 equals 20. And now this is just like what we did the previous day with two-step equations. We're really just doing the order of operations backwards now, getting rid of addition and subtraction, and then multiplication and division. So our next step would be to get rid of that addition and subtraction, and that would be this negative 10, not the 5, because the 5 is really multiplied. So I'm going to do the opposite of what I see, add 10. 10 minus 10 is 0, so we just have 5x equals now 30. And then last, the opposite of multiplying by 5 is divide by 5. So we have x equals, and 30 divided by 5 should give us 6. Next, same thing. We have two like terms on this side we can combine, negative 11p and negative 13p. They're all negative, so you're really adding them up. That should give you a negative 24p. And then write the rest of the equation, negative 9, and then we have a 27. If we're undoing addition and subtraction first, this 27 is really added. We can't get rid of that negative 24 because that's really multiplied. So the opposite of a positive 27 would be negative 27. And then negative 27 and a negative 9, they're all negative, so that'll give us a negative 36. Equal to a negative 24p. And now finally the opposite of multiply is divide. So we're going to divide by negative 24. And two negatives we know make a positive. We can simplify 36 divided by 24, or you could just plug it in your calculator. If you simplified, you would simplify all the way down to 3 over 2, but in my calculator that's the same as 1.5. Couple more like this. Here's another one just the same, negative x and a negative x. They're all negatives on the same side. Add them up. That gives me a negative 6x. Over here we have negative 24 and 18 there. Get rid of your addition and subtraction first. This is really a positive 18. We want to get x by itself, so that's why we're not moving the 24 anywhere. We're trying to move things away from the x side. So subtract 18. These are all negatives, so add them up. That should give us a negative 42 and a negative 6x over here. The opposite of multiplying is divide, so divide by negative 6. Those eliminate. We have x equals now a positive 7. 6 times 7 is 42. Now this next one looks a little bit different. We have parentheses. If we have parentheses, we need to distribute that first. So I'm going to distribute 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 6 is 12, and then write the rest of the equation, plus 7x equals 39. Now we do have some like terms, so just like this one over here, we can combine our like terms. 2x plus 7x is 9x, and then write the rest, plus 12 equals 39. And then, like we've been doing, get rid of addition and subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 12. We have 9x equal to 27. And then divide by 9. 27 divided by 9 would give us 3. And if you're not sure if you got it right, you can always plug a 3 back in for x. Alright, a couple word problems. It says, you helped a friend move a short distance recently. The friend rented a truck for $15 an hour and rented a dolly for $5. Now, if you're not sure what a dolly is this little thing right here that you can stack your boxes on and put on your little, turn on the wheels and to move to carry your boxes. Alright? So, we know the truck is $15 per hour. We don't know how many hours, so I'm going to say 15 multiplied by h. And our dolly is just $5. Your friend paid a total of $80 for the rental. For how long did your friend rent the truck? So we have $15 per hour plus the $5 for the dolly has to add up to $80. Well, all we have to do is solve. Get rid of our addition and subtraction. Subtract 5 for the dolly. We have 15h. 80 minus 5 is 75. And then last, divide by 15. If you plug that in your calculator, you should get a nice 5. So you've rented the truck for 5 hours. Here's another one talking more about geometry. It says the length of a rectangle is 3 inches more than its width. The perimeter is 52 inches. Find the length and the width of the rectangle. So they told me this was a rectangle, so I'm going to just draw a picture. Now, some people get confused because they try and use the letters L and W. Well, in all of these ones we've been solving, there's only been one letter. So we really only need one letter. I'm just going to stick with the letter X for the unknown length or width or whatever we're talking about. So it says the length is 3 inches more than its width. Well, we don't know what the width is, so I'm going to say the width is X. And the length is 3 inches more, so it would be the width plus 3 inches more. Now, if they tell us the perimeter has to be equal to 52, perimeter is adding up all the sides. So if the bottom is x plus 3, the top is x plus 3. Same with the left and the right. I'm going to put 1's in front of here because these are really just 1x. So if we add up all the sides, I'm going to add up all my x's. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That will give us 4x. And then also our 3's, 3 plus 3, just our numbers, would give us 6. 4x plus 6 has to equal 52. So if we go to solve this now, solving for x, we're going to get rid of that plus 6, so subtract 6. 4x equals, we're subtracting 6, 46. And then last, divide by 4. This isn't going to give us a nice number. If I plug this in my calculator, 46 divided by 4 will give me 11.5. So that's x. That's our width is 11.5 on this side. But this side of our rectangle, we have to add 3 to. So that would be 14.5 on this side. A couple more solving equations. If we have parentheses, that means we need to distribute first. Multiply that 2 by the x and the 5, but it's not just a 2, it's a negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative times a negative makes a positive 10. And then write the rest here. So combining our like terms, 6 minus 2 gives us 4x, plus 10 equals 46. Addition and subtraction first, subtract 10. And 46 minus 10 is 36. Our last step, the opposite of multiply, is divide. How many times does 4 go into 36? The answer should be 9. Here's one almost identical. It's just the same thing. There's only decimals in this one. Again, this isn't 1.5, it's negative 1.5. So if I'm plugging my calculator, negative 1.5 times 6 should give me a nice negative 9 with the m. Negative 1.5 times 2, if we're just doubling it, that will give me a negative 3, doubling 1.5. Write the rest, we have a 4.5 over here, equal to 6. So I don't have any like terms with the m's, but I can combine 4.5 minus 3. That will give me 1.5, and then write the rest. Minus 9m equals 6. Get rid of your addition and subtraction. This is multiplied. We can't get rid of that, so I'm going to subtract that 1.5. We have negative 9m. 6/5 would give us 4.5. And then last, we want m by itself. The opposite of multiplying is divide by negative 9. I know my answer is going to be negative. 4.5 divided by 9, this is really 1/2, or 0.5. If you wanted to leave it as negative 1/2, that's fine as well. Now here we have a few with parentheses that have fractions. So we've been taught that first we could just distribute. And that's what I'm going to do on this one. 3/5 times 5, well, I could just multiply it out. 3/5 times 5, which is really 5/1. That would give me 15 on the top, and 5 times 1 is still 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So we'd have 3m. And then we're going to do 3/5 times 15. Make that a 15. 3 times 15 is 45, divided by 5 would give us 9. Now, that's one way to go about this. This one worked out really nicely because we didn't have any weird decimals. So if I solve this one, subtract 9, we have 3m equals now a negative 21, and divide by 3. So m equals a negative 7. This one worked out nicely, like I said, because the denominator was a 5 and we're multiplying by multiples of 5. It worked out to get rid of our fractions. But at this next one, if I do this the same way and distribute like this, 4 times 4 would give us 16. 16 divided by 5 is not going to be a nice whole number. So instead of distributing, another way we learn to get rid of or undo a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 4/5 would be multiplying by 5 over negative 4 times 5 over negative 4. That will undo this 5 and the 4 and leave us with 4a minus 1, which is a nice whole numbers. Over on this side, we're just multiplying straight across. In my calculator, 5 times 28 gives me 140. On the bottom, negative 4 times 1 is still negative 4. So if I divide that, I get 35, or negative 35. Now this is what we did to avoid having weird decimals. Now it's just a nice problem. We can get rid of our addition and subtraction. We have 4a, and negative 35 plus 1 is really a negative 34 because they're different signs, negative and positive. And then last, divide by 4. So this isn't going to be a nice whole number, but we had nice whole numbers throughout the problem. 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.5, so negative 8.5. So the difference is we now know 2 ways to solve when we have a fraction where we can undo a fraction. This one, if we multiplied, 2 times 3 would be 6. 6 divided by 5 is not going to be a nice number, so instead I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. I'm going to multiply by 5 over 2 times 5 over 2. So those cancel, and those cancel. We're left with 3r plus 4. Well, 5 times 10 is 50. 2 times 1 is 2. Well, 50 divided by 2 is 25. And then solve like a regular problem. Subtract 4, getting rid of our addition or subtraction. We have 21 equals 3r. And then divide by 3. We have 21 divided by 3 is 7. So now you have a couple ways to solve that type of problem. Now the second part of our lesson is solving equations with variables on both sides. We still want to distribute and combine our like terms first, but then we want to move all the letters to the same side. So I'm going to draw my line down. This is like my brick wall. I can combine my like terms, 5a and 2a, but I can't combine this 4a yet because there's a wall there. We can't just combine them all together. Only on the same side. 5 plus 2 is 7a, and then we have minus 3 equals 4a plus 9. So we want to move all the letters to the same side. It doesn't really matter which one you move, you'll get the same answer no matter how you solve it. But if you want to avoid having negatives, move the smaller number over to be with the larger number. Because if I subtract 4a, because this whole thing is positive, we're not just moving the 4, we're moving the whole thing. If we just wanted to move the 4, we'd divide. But we want to move the whole 4a. The whole term is positive, so we need to subtract 4a. It leaves us with a positive 3a. And then write the rest. We have minus 3 equals 9. Now it's just a two-step equation. Get rid of your addition or subtraction. We have 3a equals 12. And then last, the opposite of multiply by 3 is divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Our second problem here, we have parentheses. That means we need to distribute. So I'm going to distribute this and distribute this first. If you would like to draw a box to multiply, go ahead and do that as well. So 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12 with the p. On this side, 3 times 5 is 15 with p. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So now we can't combine any like terms because we have a letter and just a number, but we can move them all to the same side. So always move your letters first. We want all the letters on the same side. Now this 12 is negative. That's smaller than a positive 15. So I'm going to move that over to be with the positive 15. If you move the 15 over, you'll get the same answer in the end. So this whole thing is negative, so I have to do the opposite and add 12p. Those will eliminate. We have 42. These are all positive, so 27p and minus 12. Two-step equation now, just get rid of addition and subtraction. I'm going to add 12. So we have 27p. And adding these up, we have 54. Last, the opposite of multiply is divide. So we have p equals, and 54 divided by 27, if you're not sure, plug it in your calculator. It will give you a nice 2. Now, all the problems that we're solving, we've gotten one answer. Some letter equals a number, a equals 4, or p equals 2, or something like that. But now we have 3 possibilities for answers. We have one solution, just like we said, if you have like a equals 4 or something. We could have no solution. This is when we solve a problem and we get like 3 equals 8. That would not be true. That's not going to be an answer. 3 is never going to equal 8. Or if we solve a problem and we get exactly the same number on both sides. So if we solve and we get 5 equals 5, our answer would be all real numbers, which you can write as a double-lined R. Or we also call that an identity. An identity is an equation that is true for all values of the variable. The solution of an identity is all real numbers. Identity meaning you look in the mirror, you see the same thing. 5 looks in the mirror, it's going to see a 5. It's the same thing on both sides. Okay? So if we solve this one, I'm going to draw my line down, combine my like terms. Negative 15 plus 7, there's more negatives. There's 8 more negatives, so we have negative 8c plus 1 equals 3 minus 8c. Just like we did on this previous problem, we want to get all of our letters on the same side first. So it doesn't matter which one we move because they're both negative 8c. So if I do the opposite and add 8c, Those eliminate, and those eliminate. So we end up with 1 equals 3. Well, 1 is never going to equal 3, so this is one of these right here that we call there is no solution. Let's try the next one. First, let's distribute on both sides. 2 times 3 is 6g. 2 times 2 is 4. And on this side, 12g times 1/2, or it's half of 12, would give us 6g. And half of 8 is 4. We want all the letters on the same side. It doesn't matter which g we move. I'm going to do the opposite of what I see. This is positive, so I'm going to subtract 6g. 6 minus 6 eliminates. 6 minus 6 eliminates. So we're left with 4 equals 4. Well, 4 does equal 4. So our answer is all real numbers. 2 lines that make an R, or you can call it an identity. That means no matter what we plug in for g, we're going to end up with the same thing on both sides. Alright, let's figure out how many solutions this one has. I see more than one h here, so I'm going to combine these. 6.2 minus 1.4. Plugging this in my calculator, we get 4.8 h. And then write the rest. We have plus 5 equals 4.8 h plus 5. Now some of you might be able to tell right from here, hey, this is an identity. 4h plus 5 is the same as 4h plus 5. But I'm going to move all my letters to the same side. If I subtract 4.8h, those eliminate and those eliminate. 5 is equal to 5. It might be easier to see if there's just one number on each side. This is what we call all real numbers, or an identity. You don't need to write both. If you just write one or the other, that's fine. Alright, next, we have letters on both sides. We need to get them on the same side. I'm going to move this 5a because it's smaller. So I'm going to subtract 5a. 16 minus 5 gives me 11a equal to 22. And then divide by 11. We get a equals 2. Now this is just one solution. We have a is always going to be equal to 2. So this is one where you could write one solution. Alright, 2 more like this. We have letters on both sides. I'm going to move the smaller one. I'm going to subtract 7w. If you move the 8w, you'll get the same answer in the end. You'll just have a negative instead of a nice positive 1w here. And we have plus 1. Get rid of your addition or subtraction, so I'm going to subtract 1. We get 1w equals 0. And then if we divide by 1, it shouldn't change our answer. 0 divided by 1 is still 0. This is not no solution. W equals 0 is just one solution. Remember, no solution would be if you had like 0 equals 5. That would be a no solution. But W equals 0, sure, that's fine. Next, distributing on this one because I see my parentheses. 4 times 2y is 8y. And 4 times 1 is 4. So if I move my 8y's all to be on the same side, it doesn't matter which one I move, they're both the same. If I subtract 8y, those eliminate, we have 4. Those also eliminate, we have nothing, we have 0. It's not a y. Some people have been writing a y here. If I have 8 yo-yos and I get rid of 8 yo-yos, I now have nothing, 0. There's no letter there. 0 does not equal 4, so this is no solution. Alright, our last couple problems, or last problem. It says, for $360, a rock climbing gym offers a yearly membership where members can climb as many days as they want and pay $4 per day for equipment rental. Non-members pay $10 per day to use the gym and $6 per day for equipment rental. First, they want us to write an equation. Write an equation to find the number of visits after which the total cost for a member and the total cost for a non-member are the same. Another word for same would be when they are equal. Then part 2 would be solve it. So first we're going to write an equation, then we're going to solve it. So they want us to figure out when the costs for a member and a non-member are the same. So first, a member, it costs you $360 to be a part of the gym. But it also costs you $4 per day for the equipment rental. So I'm going to use the letter D to represent the number of days. 4 times the number of days that we're at the gym. A non-member here pays $10 per day for the gym, so 10 times D, plus $6 per day for equipment rental. We've included all of our information, so now we just have to solve this. Well, first we can combine our like terms. 10 plus 6 gives us 16D. Now moving the 4D, we have, it's positive, so I'm going to subtract 4D because I want all the letters on the same side. We have 360 equal to now 12D. And then last, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we have D equal to, well, 36 divided by 12 is 3, and there's a 0 there, so it should be 30. So D stands for the number of days. So after 30 days of using the gym, it would cost a member and a non-member the same. So if you're going to go to the gym more than 30 days, if you go 31 days, you're paying an extra $16 if you're a non-member, but if you're a member, you're only paying an extra $4. So if you're going to go more than 30 days, it's going to be beneficial to be a member, but if you're going to go less than 30 days, it would be beneficial to be a non-member. Alright, your homework is out of the book. It is right here from 3.3 and 3.4. You need to do both sections. The O here means odds. This section, for example, you need to do all of them.